Combined. I'm your host, Angie Griffin, also known as Angelina. And as you can see, today we have a whole nother format. We're doing something a little bit different. It's not just one, but it's four, maybe even five. But I want to do brief introductions as we kickstart Hip Hop Appreciation Week with Caffeine Connections. That's why we're doing it. Hip Hop Appreciation Week 2026. And we're going to do brief introductions, and then I'm going to talk a little bit about Caffeine Connections, and we're going to jump straight into it. If you are here inside of YouTube in the chat, feel free. The chat is interactive. We will engage with you at a certain point, but we'll go ahead and let the ladies jump in. And Kathleen, we'll start with you since you were the first one in the room today.
Okay, good morning, everyone. I am Kathleen Warren, located here in St. Petersburg, Florida. I am a retired educator, and currently I am a real estate investor. I also invest in the stock market, and I have also written a book and a guide, actually a guidebook, to help families create generational wealth. It's family legacy planning. It's a monthly meeting guide, and there's a workbook that goes with that. And the goal is to help families create generational wealth through planning with family meetings and other activities that will help us create wealth to last past generations. That is me, Kathleen Warren.
Thank you, Kathleen. I'm glad you're here. Kathleen is sitting in for our wealth advisor, who was going to be here to talk about financial literacy. We'll give a shout out to Dre Martin, who's probably listening in. We'll pass the mic over to Shannon Brooks.
Okay, so yes, I'm Shannon Brooks, aka Shannon B. I'm here in Winston-Salem, North Carolina, and I do have my own company called Brooks and Associates LLC. And under that, I'm a financial services specialist. So what I do is I help people in 3 different areas of their lives. The first is in the area of finance. In that area, I do teach about financial literacy, but I always tell people I teach it with a twist. Twist meaning that we don't talk about money, we talk about mindset. Because I always tell people, until you can get your mindset together, your money management won't be together. I'm also a life and health insurance agent, but I mainly focus more on the life side because I tell people all the time, GoFundMe is not life insurance, and neither is that fish fry foolishness. So I'm here to rid the world of all of that mess and to show people how they can actually leverage life insurance while they're still alive to build wealth, and how they can turn that last name of theirs into an asset when they do pass away. And the last component is credit. In that area, I teach about credit education as well as assist with credit restoration.
You forgot, and that's me, Shannon B.
That's right. That's me, Shannon B. Sorry, I'm not all the way caffeinated yet, y'all. I'm coming. I'll be there in a minute, though.
Oh, speaking of which, I have my coffee to the side. We'll pass it over to Dave Tolliver.
Hello, everyone. I'm in Atlanta by way of Cleveland. I don't know how to normally say that. I'm in Atlanta, but from Cleveland. I am part of a group called Men at Large, discovered by the late, great Gerald Levert. I've been in media and entertainment since 1986. I'm presently still touring and doing radio, and I do a little mentoring here and there into mental and physical health. That's who I am, Dr. Dave Tolliver. How are you? Good morning. I left my coffee upstairs.
Dr. Dave Tolliver. How did we forget that?
Because I don't really, flex it. It's honorary, and I know it still means something, but I just really don't, unless we're really getting into a talk or different stuff like that, where it's all focused on me, then we'll talk about it. But I don't really flex it. I may use it when I'm talking to kids or, different stuff like that. But, for the most part, just Davey T, aka 2 Bites.
All right. Minister Server, we'll pass it over to you.
Good morning, everyone. I am Minister Server Tavares, hip-hop cultural strategist. I work with a number of different organizations, but I promote hip-hop bridge builders. We are a company that uses hip-hop as life strategies for self-identification, self-improvement, and self-empowerment. These are positive social change. So we do workshops from middle schools all the way up through college. As I said, I work as an advisor, a spiritual advisor for a number of different organizations, primarily the Trinity International Hip Hop Festival, which is held every year in Hartford, Connecticut at Trinity College. We just celebrated the 20th anniversary, and I've been involved since the second one. So I appreciate that you keep the old man hanging out with them. I'm based in Atlanta, Georgia. The work that we do is hip hop beyond entertainment. As you say, rap is something you do, hip hop is something you live, and through Hip Hop Bridge Builders, that's the work that we do. Or
Yeah, absolutely. So I'll just say this. It is an honor and a privilege to be able to host this platform in celebration of Hip Hop Appreciation Week. Hip Hop Appreciation Week is something that I have been a part of since 2002. I mean, it is now 2026. And to be able to still say, I still appreciate hip hop, I am hip hop, and to be able to invite people within my community from folks that I met from 2002 to 2025 or 2024 is an absolute blessing. And I don't take that for granted. And like Server said, like we are talking about hip hop beyond entertainment. One of the things that I learned in my journey as a hip hopper, this is something I gained in 2002 when I first got involved with the Temple of Hip Hop, very much like Minister Server, right? I learned about the HLAW. The HLAW, once I learned what the HLAW was, I literally took a hold of it and applied it to my entire life. Since from then to this very point, like my business, Value Family Legacy, is based off of the HLAW. People don't know this, but it's health, love, awareness, and wealth, right? Caffeine Connections. When I do my introduction, I always say, our topics are based off of health, love, awareness, and wealth. People don't realize that is based off of a principle or foundation of hip hop culture. When we talk about hip hop beyond entertainment. So here we are celebrating Hip Hop Appreciation Week. I'm not going to get emotional today, but we're going to get down to it. And I'm so honored that you all have joined us. Those who are listening in, I already received a couple messages that folks are tuning in on YouTube. So thank you all for tuning in. And, the panelists that I have here, I'm just absolutely grateful that you all have taken this time. Again, I don't take this time for granted. So again, health, love, awareness, and wealth. And for those of you who have watched Caffeine Connections before, and those who haven't, I'll just share this. I always say for Caffeine Connections, the podcast, the reason why we do this also is because everyone has a story. Every single one of us has a story. And I feel like the stories need to be shared, whether it's an hour-long story or a 10 to 15-minute story, right? For each of you, I have had an opportunity to hear your stories, or like Dave, we talked not long ago, and I was saying, I see you from the sidelines, right? Like for years, and I've been able to see the journey. And I want to start with you, because we want to kind of touch on health, and as far as health awareness, right, and the importance of this conversation to the hip hop community. And if you don't mind sharing a little about your story, I know you said you're from a group, Men at Large, but one thing that we know is you went through a major transformation.
Yeah, it took me a minute to get there too, and I think for the longest part of my life, I was like super heavy. And it never really bothered me. I took the scales at one point at about 525, and it never bothered me because I was active, and I was always moving around. All my homies were smaller except for my group members. Another guy that hung with us, he's not here now. He was heavy. It just was like normal. You didn't really think about it until there were certain things that you needed to do or wanted to do. And I never had high blood, never had sugar, never was in the danger zone, and the doctors couldn't understand why. And I was like, why are you even worried about why I'm not in the danger zone? Let's just be thankful that I'm not. And that's one thing that I always talk about too, is I think the reason why I may have escaped that being so heavy is because I don't eat sauce on anything. Never, like for over 30 years, I have not eaten sauce. When you think about sauce, it's salt and sugar and everything else too. And people don't think about that. They say, man, let me get that ranch. It's like 150 calories in every tablespoon of ranch. And people mainly douse their food and sauces and ranch, and I'm sure it more than I know for a fact it takes a toll on you. I've yo-yoed my weight up and down quite a few times, where I've lost a couple hundred or 100 here or 50, 60 here. And I was cool. Then I started having bone issues. I'm like, oh man. So I'm going through hip replacements. And then the last time the doctor did a hip replacement, he messed it up and I ended up with nerve damage. And I had to kind of learn how to walk all over again. It's just been one situation after another. And then finally one day I came off the road because I know we don't have much time, and I was like I couldn't breathe. I was like, what the hell is going on? So I'm walking to the car, and I'm like, yo, what I'm saying? Like this wasn't a normal feeling because I know sometimes, even when I started to get up in age, like I didn't party at home, but when I hit the road, I might party a little bit. Then you get on the plane and you sweating, and because you fat and you walking and you sweating, and that dry recycled air, and everybody shaking the junk stuff out their hair, pet dander, and the W folks like to cough and not cover their mouth and yawn, so it's just coming around. And come to find out they said I had this heart issue, and I'm like, damn, I'm 50, so, and now they gonna tell me. But first they were telling me, good thing I'm first. Number one, I've seen so many unexpected deaths in my life. I started going to the doctor and getting prostate exams and everything at early, at like 29. I was like, I wasn't playing. God said, you'll never come in and say, I'm sorry, Mr. Tolliver. That I'm like, use a lie. We was just here last week. And if it's something that you saw and didn't see, and I ain't how much money you leave in my family. You dig what I'm saying? I'm gonna have to call Brooks and get that plan. But so I just really at that point decided to really, really, really take things serious, man. I have been through a lot of things, body wise. At 500 something pounds, the first time I got with my wife, I went to her house and I'm from Ohio. I slipped on black ice off the little 3-step porch. And from that's what started the downfall of my hips. This one messed up, had to get it done. The left one got jealous. I got this one done. Then this one got mad because I started showing out with this one. Then that's when the doctor messed it up. And then, everything went haywire. But, I had to find when you find your center, you're able to overcome these things. And, it's a process. If you don't fight these issues head on, the mental with the health, with the physical, it'll swallow you up, like I told you last night. It's
Yeah.
long. It can go longer than that, but let me,
But you know what? You said something, and I want us to get back to that too. We talked like the mental part, right? Because the mental part, Shannon, this is also going to tie in with something you always talk about, the root of the problem, right? Shannon always says you have to tackle the root in order to, and there's a root problem even to our health issues, right?
Yeah.
To why we become certain things happen. Not all. Some people genetically or whatever the case is, but a lot of times there's something. So we're going to talk about that more, Dave. So thank you for sharing that. But really quick, just as a testimony, let people know where you were size-wise and where you are now.
Oh, at the highest, I was 525. Right now, I go between 265 and 275, somewhere around there. I have a late night snacking problem, but I stay at the gym like at least 4 times a week, so kind of balances it out. But I'll pick up 5 or 10, lose 5 or 10, especially when we now on the road. But yeah, that's where I'm at.
Yeah, I wish I had like an applaud. I know, right? Just clap. Let's clap for Dave. That's an accomplishment.
Let me get some of that blue cheese, Kim.
All right, let's move over to Minister Server. So, Server, one of the questions I have for you, because, just like Kool Kim, welcome Kool Kim, thank you for joining us. And Dave, all of y'all have been working in entertainment and the culture for a very long time, right? So you've seen stress. You know, one thing I used to say when I was 21, and I regret it. I remember saying this. It was on a T-shirt when I was interning with Midnight Marauders. The T-shirt said, "I'll sleep when I die," and I would actually say that out loud.
Nas used to say, "Sleep is the cousin of death."
But how has stress and that hustle culture, because I feel like that comes from a hustle culture, right? Or let's say even survival mode, impacted our people within the community, to you, physically and physically?
Yeah, I think, that's definitely part of the culture. Most of us grew up, in that scramble hustle. In the early days of hip hop, we didn't really know what it was, whether it was going to last. Everybody was trying to do what they're doing. So those kind of mindsets about I'll sleep when I'll sleep when I die, and all those kind of things. But as we've gotten older, that's the thing about everything. As you get older, hopefully you are getting better. You're learning more. You're learning more about yourself. And for me, from Nation Time Syndicate days to Temple Hip Hop days and all those kind of things, because of my spiritual path, it connected with my health path as well. As you said, when I went through a health challenge back in 2016, when I was diagnosed with Bell's palsy, and they said I may never speak again and all type of things, immediately I went into the spiritual aspect of it along with the health aspect. Because again, if you don't take care of you, first law of nature is self-preservation. So me, at the time being married with children, I have to take care of me. And sometimes that's, we as Black men, sometimes we don't really get taught that, even as Black women, sometimes they take care of other people more than they take care of themselves. But in knowing spiritual wise that you have to take care of you, which will allow you to take care of others. So even when I was going through the challenges, I never thought it was going to be the diagnosis that they said. I never thought I wasn't going to speak again. But even in the midst of that, what I did do is mentally and emotionally prepare myself for anything. Les Brown has a quote that he says that whenever you're dealing with a challenge, if you can go to the worst case scenario and see yourself dealing with that, whatever that worst case scenario may be in that situation, and see yourself dealing with that mentally and emotionally, then number of times in our mind, it's worse than it ends up being. You know what I'm saying? So it is a mindset, as Shannon was talking about, the mental and the physical all go together, the mental, financial, the physical, which is why the HLAW, health, love, awareness, wealth. It covers all the different things. And I've been blessed to be privy to the HLAW for a while. As Angie said, I not only incorporated it in my life, but I've helped to raise 6 children in this culture. And I tell people all the time, respectfully, 3 daughters, 3 sons, no rappers. Because rap is just something you do. Hip hop is something you live. But all of my children are successful because they were raised in a culture that encourages them to be your best authentic self, regardless of your occupation. Meaning that, again, health, love, awareness, wealth. That's a part of who you're supposed to be. And God has given us, an opportunity. The ancestors has cleared the way. So it's just a matter of you knowing your divine assignment and staying in alignment with that. And hip hop encourages that. Word.
Absolutely. Oh my gosh, yes. And yeah, Survey. You know what? I don't know if I knew that it was Bell's palsy you were diagnosed with. So that transformation, it's so interesting. You talk about the spiritual aspect. We are spiritual beings in a human experience, and we know this. And that's something else. I feel like there needs to be a part 2 to this conversation, honestly, because there's just not enough time.
It's not. It's not enough
but
time.
What's really interesting, when I went to the hospital and I came in there, the first thing the nurse said, "You're having a stroke." I was like, "No, I'm not." Immediately, I was like, "No, I'm not." And then, the diagnosis. But I say that to say, all healing begins within. Not to get into religion, but the basis of the teachings of Jesus are based on health. So yeah.
No, yeah. Thank you. Thank you for sharing that. And you're absolutely right. Yeah. And Server is one of the first people I heard to coin himself as the hip hop grandpop. So not only did he raise 6 children, he is now, how many grandchildren do you have now, Server?
7 grandchildren and the dopest hip hop grandpa. There's a bunch.
That's what it was. The dopest hip hop grandpa. There we go. Thank you for that correction.
Come for the ground. That's the dopest challenge in hip hop right now. Who could be a dope hip hop grandpa? The Minister Server.
Ah, that's what's up. Now, Kool Kim, we're not going to rob you from an intro, but I would like for you to briefly introduce yourself. But the next question is gonna come to you. But more than anything, I would love for you to share your story as far as giving people a highlight as to what caused you to address your health more recently.
Well, number one, Angelina, thanks for the opportunity to come sit and talk with y'all.
Yes.
Shouts to Dave, shouts to Minister Server, peace, Shannon, and how you doing, Sister Kathleen? I wanted to take a moment. I'm happy to be here. You know what I'm saying? My name is Kool Kim. I represent from the rap group called the UMCs, where y'all would first know me. I would later go on to go by the name of NY Oil, the Ideal. And at that point, I was a controversial pro-black MC. You know what I'm saying? So I've always been a controversial pro-black MC, even when I was in the UMCs, if you really listen to the lyrics. And then I came back to being Kool Kim, full circle, but, evolved and grown more. And I own, I guess you would say, an event and entertainment sort of company. And one of my primary things is Beats and Bars Barbecue that I do every year at my house. And we'll be doing Collab Lab, which is going to be a 3-day event, 5 MCs, 5 producers, 3 days, one house. And we're going to be streaming live for 72 hours straight. This is going to be madness.
What?
Yeah. It's going to just be pure madness, you know what I'm saying? And also, we're going to be doing garden groups at the house, too. So we're going to have Shy come through. We're going to have Auntie Melba Moore coming through, and a few other artists coming through to the house to rock out. So you got to come down. You know that. You already
I
know
just
what
want to
time
play
it
in
is.
your garden. I want to play in your garden. That's what I want.
You got. Oh, hold on, my wife. Watch out now.
Hey, QP.
Watch out
QP.
now. You know, I take that the wrong way now.
No. I want to. Those were gorgeous. That's what I meant.
You gotta see it now. You gotta see it now because the tomatoes started growing, and the squash is growing, and the cucumbers are starting to happen, and we got peaches on the tree. We got plums. They starting to change color, so it's exciting seeing it all manifest. You know what I mean? I'm a city dude, man. You know what I'm saying? So to be able to watch this and be a part of it manifested, and of course, help my wife fulfill her personal visions and goals is exciting for me. I love it. But to your question, so it goes like this. My situation was the same as the one that you saw when you came down to visit for Beats and Bars Barbecue. When I prior to that, we had still, we started at Hurricane Helene. So Hurricane Helene came through, tore everything up. My house was messed up as it was, but it was a DIY house, and a lot of people saw me doing work on my house, my little blog I had called Life After Hip Hop, and I was showing people my process of rebuilding my home and trying to get it together. So it was what it was. So I bought this house for $8,000. You know what I'm saying? And it was like, yo, I was like, with a little resourcefulness and focus, I can turn this into something. You know what I mean? And I grew up in an apartment building, so I never really had anything. I didn't go to vocational school, but I got force of will, man. Like, that's one thing about me, man. If I want to do something, do it, And so, long story short, I built this up best I could, but of course, I'm DIY is a whole lot different than a 20-year man doing some work. So, time Hurricane Helene hit, my house held up well for 10 years, easy. But Hurricane Helene had other, ready knockout bill, and it tore up the roof and all kind of stuff. And so I got back to rebuilding. It's never nothing to me, because once you had the capacity to do for self, you never had a fear of something happening, because you know that I just pick this hammer up, I'll put that saw up, I'm gonna get to work. It is what it is. It may take me a little while, but you're gonna get it done. What's happening? And I have a lot of little names for myself, and one is the indomitable Kool Kim. Like, I refuse to be like, nothing's breaking me. You know what I'm saying? Nothing's gonna break me. I just refuse that. You know what I'm saying? And so I went back to it. But when it got time to try to redo the roof, it was a little bit above my skill set, and I couldn't really get it done, and not by myself. And I tried my best. I did my best, But I guess my best wasn't good enough. It was straight raining in here. I'm talking about I mean, it would be like shh. Like if I was in the house the way it was gonna rain a little while. If it started raining, you would be seen like shh, like it's raining in here. I'm like it's raining, and that's how it was. And so the house got destroyed, man. I'm talking about all the hard work. I had done new floors. We did my wife's craft room, and I mean, it was so beautiful, y'all. And I was actually proud. I'm proud of myself, say strutting around the house like I did something. And this is important details. And so, man, it was mold in the house. I mean, straight black mold, sheets of it in my laundry room, in my bedroom. The craft room was completely destroyed. I wouldn't even let my grandson come in to the room because it was just I didn't want nothing to happen to him. And I hurt my sciatica too. I went and tried to break dance last year at the b-boy contest, and I messed my knees up. And I did something else. I did something with food. No, I went and tried to get a little massage at the daggone Chinese spot in the mall, and she was tearing into me, and it sparked a sciatic thing. And so I was bedridden for a while trying to get over it. And so I was sedentary as well. So I was gaining weight. I was a little depressed, even though in my mind I had gone through so many things in my life. It's been a life of challenges and obstacles. And so in the face of them, on the other sides of them, I will always come out on top, you know what I'm saying? And, thank Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala for that blessing, that my belief, you know what I'm saying? That he was there for me that way. And, he always see us through. And, so I try to remain confident, but I think subconsciously I was extremely panicked. I didn't know how I was going to resolve any of this stuff. But I kind of was like, yo, God got it, man. You know what I'm saying? He got me. I try to put it on that. And he did. Because they came through, an organization came through, they saw the situation. They got my wife, she hustling, moving, shaking. She got in touch with this one and that one and the third. And the disaster relief organization came through and they was like, yo, you want to need a full rebuild. All right, we're going to rebuild the house. Free of charge, straight up and down. We're just going to straight up and down come and just rebuild your house.
That's a blessing.
So is it? You heard?
Big facts.
Yeah.
But here's the story about blessings and stuff like that oftentimes we overlook is that blessings, so I'm harking to Meshach, Shadrach, and Abednego. You know what I'm saying? From the Bible, biblically, the biblical story, them three cats that had to walk through the fire to get to the other side to prove their value. Like it was like another proof that that God is real. Like whatever. And I was talking to Reverend Al Sharpton years and years ago, and I mentioned that to him, and he said, "Do you think the fire didn't burn?" I was like, "Wait a minute, but they came out without smelling like smoke or they clothes singed." He was like, "Yeah, don't mean that fire ain't burned. Don't mean it ain't hurt. It mean that they walked through it regardless." You know what I'm saying? And they was guided through it. They ain't said that he was absolved the pain of that fire, but they got on the other side of it. And on the other side of it, they was able to stand tall with the proof that their God was real and humble the liars and deceivers of the world. You know what I'm saying? And so, even though you got a good thing coming, there's a blessing on its way. There's still fire to walk through. So that process was meant to take a few months, like maybe 2 or 3, 4 months. The way everybody talk about because the Mennonites came to do it, right? So everybody talk about how they work, and I really did our research because we wanted to be good hosts when they came because the Mennonites live a different style of life. If you're not familiar with Mennonites, they're the same as the Amish, but they just a little more in the world. You know what I'm saying? So they might do a little bit of stuff in the world, like they might use a phone and stuff like that, where the Amish ain't trying to touch none of that. You know what I mean? Electric powered stuff. You heard? So we wanted to be prepared for them, and we had like, they get busy, they fast with theirs. A 3-month, 4-month job turned into a 6-month job. And while we there, we staying in the trailer. We had a trailer on the property, and we were living in there. And a kitchen is a kitchen, right? You know what I'm saying? As long as you got a refrigerator and a stove and the oven, it's a kitchen. But every kitchen ain't your kitchen. And you in this little trailer, and not a little trailer, it was big enough. But I mean, it was you in this trailer, and it's difficult to make. It becomes difficult to cook healthy. It becomes difficult to move the way you're supposed to move. You know what I'm saying? You're sleeping terrible. And so now you're eating peanut butter and jelly sandwich, cold cuts, and trash and stuff like that. So I'm gaining weight now. I'm 240, working on 250. I'm 5'7", so that sits heavy on me. You know what I'm saying? And again, you know, I was kind of sedentary. Even though I got back to playing pickleball, it wasn't at the rate that I normally would. And you know, I might have been low key depressed, even though I was excited because I was able to actually watch people build my house over in real time. Like I just look out the window. I would just sit and look out the window and just look at these cats. I know they was like, this cats, they looking at us. But it was like watching home HGTV in real life. You know what I'm saying? So
I want you to pause real quick. You saying a word, and Dave, this goes to something you said or didn't say, but implied. This even goes back to the root cause, what we were going to talk about, is that depression, that D word. So now you have mental health that affects physical health.
Yeah, you know, you're definitely having that going on, because what happens is that even if you believe, this is why is you got to be mindful when people get to talking about positive affirmations and stuff like that, right? You know, some things become more performative than they become actual. You know what I'm saying? You know, an affirmation has to be built upon a level of trust and certainty. And if you don't have that certainty, and sometimes the certainty comes with proof, you know, it requires the proof. And when you have that proof, like I had proof because I've been in tough situations in my life on plenty of occasion. And, you know, for me, I knew that God was going to see me through. Like, I was like, yo, he'll see me. I'm going to be all right. But even
what happened though? Like, because I seen videos of you in the hospital. When you were in the hospital, what was it?
What ends up happening is that, you know, this is not, it's post Beach and Bars barbecue. Now we in December now. By this point, all right, Beach and Bars barbecue was in April, but we're in December at this point. You know, I'm having financial struggles too because it's difficult to maintain under this situation. You know what I mean? Man. And that will get at me. Like, you know, no matter what, that's always going to get at me. You know what I mean? And so, because the cost of living becomes increased when you don't have your normal amenities.
Right.
So what happens is that, I was playing this game on my phone, like one of them Kingdom Crush type Candy Crush things. And I was playing that, and I was playing it like I was at level 700, like over no, you know, I was playing it nonstop. And I started noticing this headacheish thing in the back of my left eye, right? And I was like, yo, what's happening there? You know what I'm saying? Like, what's going on? So I started, you know, I looked it up, you know, Dr. YouTube type of thing, and it was like, well, if you feel like that, go in there and look about 20 feet out. It should, you know, get you right. You know what I'm saying? Like, don't, you know, fixate on the screen.
Dr. YouTube.
Yeah, Dr. YouTube. You know what I'm saying? Professor YouTube. You know what I'm saying? That's like, they're always like that. Everything I do, I could do it because I could watch something on YouTube and then replicate it, right? So that's how I learned how to build a house. And so, you know, what happens is, you know, I do that, and then every so often I had this little vertigo thing going on, you know, a little stumble thing. I was like, yo, what's that? You know what I'm saying? And if I'm being honest, at the time I was partaking a little, you know, lettuce, you know what I'm saying? And so I was like, maybe that's that, you know what I'm saying? Maybe some, you know, I'm messing around smoking a little something. I said, I'm gonna have to chill with that. So I was like, yo, you know, and then what else was it? But then the weird thing was that I started feeling this numbness on the right side of my mouth, like my right, literally the right side, my top and bottom lip would go numb. And I would be doing this, you know, trying to like feel like when you, after you take Novocaine and it stops, it's starting to wear off. So right around that where it's wearing off type of time, where you can kind of feel your lips, but so this is going on, and this is all, and pardon me if I don't want me to, you know, belabor the point, but I just want to get this level of detail because I feel like it was these types of details that people shared with me via their own compulsion to share stuff on the internet and on Instagram and TikTok and YouTube that gave me the insights to be able to identify that something was wrong with me and do something about it. So whenever I talk about it, I always kind of give maybe a little too much detail, but I'd be wanting to make sure that I'm saying stuff that people, like maybe somebody watching be like, oh snap, I better, you know what I'm saying? So so what happens is that I had this thing that I was calling, I was regarding as confirmation bias. And the way I scienced it was that I first was looking for stuff that nah, this ain't no stroke. Let me find stuff to make me know it's not a stroke. So, like I said, when I was having a headache behind my left eye, which I'm not a headache person, that must be the video game. When I was having the moments of vertigo, oh, that must be smoking weed. When I was catching a little bit of nausea, oh, that must be what I'm eating and the weed. You dig? So, but when the mouth thing started happening, I didn't have nothing for that. And I was like, I might be having a stroke. I might be having these stroke symptoms. But what it is that how we always hear about it is that somehow it's on the right side of your head, and then you start feeling stuff like your left arm start tingling and don't start working right. That wasn't happening that way. It was coming from the left side of my head, and my right side was activating, but it wasn't in my arm or nothing. It was just my lips. But again, I was like, something right here. So what I did was I'm definitely afraid of death, right? So I don't want to die. I want to live. I want to live as long as I can. And I really want to live, and I got things to live for, and there's things I want to see and experience. And so I was like, when I felt that coming, this is one thing I got to know to do with, people watching, is when you feel yourself, something's wrong, say something. You know what I'm saying? Don't, I think men in particular, and I think everybody, this is a certain type of person. I don't think it's a man thing. I think it's a person type. There's some of us that fall on our sword. Like, we get into this thing where we feel like falling on our sword is the way to go. Like, you know that you gotta go to that doctor's appointment. But the baby wanted to go to the store to go get us some new shoes. I'm gonna take it there. I'll go to the doctor next time. Nah, go to the doctor now. Ain't no new shoes if you dead. You heard? Ain't no new nothing if you dead. Ain't no baby, ain't no nothing because you gone. Right? And so we gotta prioritize our personal health and well-being, not as a matter of selfishness, but a matter as it's really a high level of responsibility and commitment to one's family to make sure that you're right and safe, so that everybody can, because the people that rely on you, they don't want to live without you. They may be disappointed you can't do what they want to do, but they're going to understand because they desperately don't want you gone. You heard? And so I had come accustomed to that, but I had the good sense at this point to be like, I told my wife, listen, I think I might be having a stroke, but I'm not sure. I said, but we're going to go to the process of elimination. I'm going to put this game down and start smoking and see where that lands me, you know what I'm saying, and see if that alleviates some of these concerns. Now this is happening span of 8 days. You dig? Now around the fourth set of days, there's one day in particular, I want to say 2 before I had to go to the hospital, where I had a terrible headache. And if I'm being honest with y'all, if a multiverse exists, I ain't making it in one of them. You know what I'm saying? When I think about it, it makes me a little emotional because I could have died that night. You know what I'm saying? Because I didn't address it appropriately. I went down. I did the lay down and go to sleep thing. You know what I'm saying? Because when I would go to sleep, I would wake up and feel much better, and they'd be like, "All right, well, I'm good." You know what I'm saying? But that day I didn't, and so the following day I was feeling good. Whatever, we went to go play pickleball. I'm playing with my son. We getting in this good game, and I'm real good at pickleball. I was Georgia State champ, so I get busy, and so I was a good game. We was gonna play with 2 cats. Me and him wanted to play. Ball comes. This is an easy shot coming, bounce to come right, and I miss this thing by a country mile. And I said, that ain't right. Wait a minute. And I was feeling dizzy and headachy, and the numbness in my lips was happening all at the same time. I'm like, wow, I'm tripping right now. This is going hard. And I thought, at the speed of thought, how much you could think in one moment. I was like, it'd be mad whack if I die right here now on this pickleball court. Like, that'd be so corny, Because I watch movies and you see somebody like all of a sudden they just be like, and then they fall over. And I'd be like, son, you had to feel something before you fell over like that. Why you ain't say nothing before that happened? Or you knew you got bit when you got bit by the zombie apocalypse. You knew that. Why you gonna risk everybody's life like you ain't know you got bit? You know what I'm saying? Maybe you could have chopped your arm up before it got you. You know what I'm saying? That type of thing, right? So I thought about that, and I looked down, and I never been dizzy like this before. I've been drunk in my life. I've been inebriated on every level of my life enough to know, not hard drugs, but like weed and alcohol, enough to know what being that kind of dizzy is. And this was nothing like that. It was like the entire world was on a turntable just spinning. And when I seen that, I put my paddle down on the floor and I just started walking away. And I told my son what I was concerned about too. He's like, you all right? And I was like, nah. And I walked towards the door and I called my wife who was playing on the court. I was like, babe, we gotta make a move. You know what I'm saying? She didn't register at first. And I was like, babe, we gotta make a move. And Then she activated. We started driving to the hospital. I threw up a couple of times on the way there, and I knew I was in trouble then, because that was everything. Like that was the whole caboodle right there. It was going down, and they call it the power hour. You got an hour to get there before you in some real trouble. Fortunately, I was there, before that, and when I got there, alhamdulillah, man, thank God Almighty, because I must have walked in there so disheveled that they jumped at me like, yo, it was. I mean, I wasn't in the waiting room for 5 minutes, and it's like, Mr. Trump, come on in. He's like, wait, and I was like, I think I'm having a stroke. This was going on. Explaining to him, I couldn't even look the doctor. I look in my eyes. He was trying to do the little thing that they do to retrace your eyes, and I couldn't do it. I was like, I need it back. I started throwing up profusely. I was like, oh man, you know what I'm saying? And they rushed me into intensive care, which scared me because my mother-in-law, rest her soul, she had to go in intensive care before she passed. So I was like, yo, I'm going to the before you pass room, right? And then I started thinking to myself, yo, how you feel? Fired up? How you feel? Fired up? Oh yeah, you know what I'm saying? I'm fired up. Let's go. We're gonna do this. Let's do this then. That's what we're doing. We're gonna do this then. Let's get to it then. We're gonna have this the circumstances. Let's go. Let's go. We're gonna do this stroke thing then. Let's get it popping then. What's happening, stroke? What's happening? How dare you? Me? You gonna try to have me? You gonna try to kill me? You understand who I am?
But Kim, was there not a level of accountability that hit you in that moment because you were feeling the signs, right?
Nah, no accountability because I was on it. You know what I'm saying? Like I was on it. I did my diligence. I told my people what was going on. I did what I could do in a way of a process of elimination. I was on my diligence. You understand what I'm saying? So it was if I wasn't, I could have got blindsided. I might have died on the pickleball court. You understand what I'm saying? So I didn't feel that way. I just felt like, yo, this is what's going down, and I got mad at like, yo, I didn't get mad like at somebody or like I'm mad at God or nothing. I got mad like, oh, you trying to take me out? Me? Like, who you think you are? And so I got fired up. And so the whole time, I remember this story, and I'll end my thoughts here. I remember this story that they tell about this dude that was in a terrible car accident, and it may just be an anecdote, but I took it to heart. He gets in the car accident. He's terribly wounded from the accident. The EMS race him to the hospital. They went right into surgery because he's hanging on by a thread, but he's conscious and he's awake and he's cognizant. And they're about to put him under there. Mr. Johnson, you all right? Are you feeling any pain? Are you feeling any pain? He says, yeah, it only hurts when I laugh. And because he could see the looks on the people's faces when they're about to go into surgery. They look real worried. They're like type of thing. You know what I'm saying? And he's like, no, it only hurts when I laugh. And they all pause for a minute. And then they start kind of snickering. He said, yeah, I'm alive.
Right.
I'm alive. And he said, let's go to work. I'm alive, yo. Like I'm not here dead. I'm here alive. And that was my thing. And I went in their hospital and my energy was on 100. I was determined to live through that. There wasn't no way nothing was going to take me from my grandson. Wasn't nothing taking me away from my wife, not my children. Wasn't nobody going to take me away from the thing, my mission in this world that I feel like I'm still got to do. I'm not having it. And so I was fired up. And so whenever I could do something, I would do like dynamic tension, start, get myself right, you know what I mean? And I would, whenever they would let me go to the bathroom, I would sneak and do squats because I was like, yo, I'm the indomitable. I will not be beaten. And and I just was cheerful and upful, and all the nurses loved me and all that type of thing. And 4 days later, I was on my way home. You know what I'm saying? And then 4 months later, when I took 4 months later, when I had to take my follow-up, I left out the hospital with diabetes, the level 1 diabetes. I left the hospital with high cholesterol, ridiculously high cholesterol. I left the hospital with high blood pressure, and I left the hospital with hypertension. You know what I'm saying? And 4 months later, I came back. I had none of that. No diabetes, no high cholesterol, no hypertension, no high blood pressure, none of that. Dropped down to 200 pounds. Bang, what's up? playing pickleball, won the pickleball Valentine's championship with my wife, like all that. I'm the indomitable Kool Kim. That's my story.
Oh my gosh, y'all bravo to Kool Kim.
And even now you can hear the strain in my voice a little bit because, you know, I almost ain't make it, you know, and I know that to be true. You know what I'm saying? And I could have, and I'll come out better than I went in, right? You know, considerably better than I was before I had all this going on. I'm in better shape. I'm in better mind. My mind is in a better place. But I did know that what I did feel that I needed to do was I was desperately trying to get some sort of counseling because I was scared that I knew I was different.
Yeah.
Like I feel more aggressive. Like I want to fight. Like, you know, I'm on that type of time. What? You know, I'm on that energy. And so it took a little time to, you know, I was just being mindful and try to warn my family that this is what I was going through. And I just took the time to be mindful of my mental state so that I wouldn't say or do anything that would be untoward or hurt my family or close friends and stuff like that. And I didn't hide myself. I just was very mindful and honest about this with what I'm feeling. And you know, the most thing, it hurt me, man. It hurt me I hated seeing my mother there and my brother there and seeing them like struggling to keep it together. And, you know what I'm saying? I seen, you know, so many people came and visited me, and seeing them looking at me in there, and you could see them sad, like, you know, and I didn't know what I meant to people, that it was really that deep, that I meant what I mean to people, and not letting them down, but I wish that I never do that again. I never let that happen to myself again. I never let that happen to myself again.
Oh, so we're getting ready to shift from health to wealth here in a second, but I want to address something, and I'm so glad that I had 3 Black men here to talk about health today. There's a couple things that I have mentally taken notes on. The one word that comes to mind is self-determination. I feel like with each of y'all, I'm hearing an echo. I'm sorry. I don't know where that echo is coming from. But from each of you, I heard self-determination, like all of you had a will, right? Everybody had the will for change, one way or another, a will to live, right? And you were determined to do that. And another thing, and Kim just kind of said it when it came to his family, is the love for your family, seeing your family and how they looked and felt when you were going through all the, you know, the trauma, physical trauma, right? And that seemed like a major motivator, right? That love, and not just the love that your family has for you, but the self-love, you know? So, because all of you did something different for yourselves to make sure that you continue to live. And look at you now. I'm so blessed that y'all were here to share your stories. But there's something I do want to come back to, but we're 25 minutes over the line, over the line of transition.
Sorry, y'all. My bad. That's my fault.
Because these are, I said from the very beginning, Kim, before you even came, I said, we're going to let the spirit move us, right? So here we are. And everything that you said really does translate to what we're getting ready to talk about. And that's something that the Black community, or I hate to say the hip hop community, I'm gonna say the Black community, but hip hop community is a part of that, and something that we don't really, I don't want to say we avoid it, but we kind of do avoid it. And that's the conversation about money. You know, unless you're making a whole lot of it, we usually avoid the conversation about money. Dave's eyes got big. But Kim, in your story, you were talking about it, like, you know, it was there were certain issues happening, right? Even financial, right? Like there was a financial stuff going on. You know, if your health is bad and your wealth is not good, then your mental can be messed up too. So I want to ask the mic over to Shannon B and Kathleen, whoever wants to answer this question. But I guess the major question is, why is financial literacy still critical in our communities? I'll pass it on to Shannon.
For me, I think a lot of times it's very critical because there are a lot of people that are still illiterate when it comes down to financial literacy. And a lot of times I feel like that because I can't speak for everybody as far as where everybody comes from or what have you, but I am from the hood. And I can only, speak from experiences of being from the hood, living in the hood. I didn't, I finally came out the hood probably about a good 7-8 years ago. But the thing is, when you live in the hood, and the hood is a beautiful thing. Like I tell people all the time, when I start, I said the hood is a beautiful thing. I am the product of the hood, and I'm a product of my environment, and I say that with nothing but love, and I pay homage to those that, came before me because the hood raised me. But one thing about being in the hood is that we don't have the resources that the other side of town has. So when you're telling somebody you need to save, you need a budget, you need to do this or do that, but you don't have a blueprint to do that, then it's real hard sometimes to, expect somebody to say, oh, I got $1,000 saved up. I got $1,500. I got $2,000 in my investment account. If you're not putting anything back into those environments that has anything to do with financial literacy, then the majority of the people there are illiterate when it comes down to financial literacy. Because I tell people all the time, at least for my family, we didn't get a blueprint. My ancestors were somebody else's blueprint, meaning through slavery. So a lot of times we're coming through channels of slavery. We're coming through channels of struggle. We're coming through channels of poverty. But we're not coming through channels to where we are learning how to build wealth, create wealth, and sustain wealth. Because once again, when you look at the hood, I'm going to see a Foot Locker. I'm going to see a Family Dollar. I'm going to see a gas station. I'm going to see the liquor house. I'm going to see the candy lady house. But I'm not seeing a stock firm. I'm not seeing life insurance agents that's, knocking the door down to, come and help grandma and help mama and help the single Black mama, and the father that just got out of jail or prison or whatever. He's coming home trying to, make, things right and try to do the right thing. Nobody is coming to save the hood. So I know I may have went around, and about, but that's just how I feel when it comes down to, how it's critical and it's needed, but a lot of people don't have it. And that's why they make the decisions that they make and why they do the things that they do. And sometimes it just gets me kind of fired up when I hear people like, oh, they don't want anything. They don't, no, it's not that people don't want anything. Nobody is teaching them to do the right thing when it comes down to their money.
Yeah.
So they're making the best decisions that they can make with what they have.
Yeah. Well, I'm going to make it interactive really quick. And then for those who are listening on YouTube or might be in our guest area of Riverside on the guest side, because we do have a couple people that are in there as well. Feel free to chat, interact here. But this is what I want to do. This is something I hadn't planned to do. But Kool Kim, Dave Tolliver, Minister Server Tavares are all people that are either business owners. I think they're all business owners. Have worked in entertainment, right, within the culture. Like, from your standpoint, right, as men specifically in entertainment, like, what are some of the biggest financial mistakes that you feel like, people made in their 30s, 40s, and 50s? And then Shannon and Kathleen, I would love for you to chime in on solutions. And we'll start with you, Server.
I think it goes to what Shannon was saying, just the real ignorance, just not knowing, saying, just kind of going about life and living it. And, I'm originally from Atlantic City, New Jersey. So growing up, Atlantic City is a hustle mentality. So the money part was there, but knowing what to do with the money, making wise decisions with the money. It was never the issue of the money per se, but just making wise decisions, long-term decisions for the money. So once I got married and had children, start, thinking about it differently. And then that's when you have to start, particularly when dealing with the entertainment industry. We all know there's a cultural side and there's a corporation side. I live in Atlanta. I made a conscious decision to stay on the cultural side. So that in itself limits the amount of money that you're going to make. But even in that same end, as you get older and you start to learn how to not just build generational wealth in the sense of money, but in the sense of values and in the sense of things that you want to carry on. So there was a lot of early mistakes from just sheer ignorance on my part, for sure. Definitely learned a lot over the years, which is why my children are in a different position, financial and everything, because they did learn some things. But even still, it's an ongoing learning thing for us, particularly, again, when you want to make sure that you're not, buying into the corporation imperialist mindset that America can sometimes try to sell you on.
Yeah. Do you when Shannon was talking about the blueprint, are all y'all pretty much on the same page, or was a blueprint provided for you? Because not everybody's in that situation. Dave, go ahead.
I can say for me, there was no financial blueprint set up for me. I don't think that there were many people around me that had financial literacy in that, in that moment. I think the game back then, when you were rolling and you became an artist of substance, and maybe you were charting higher, different things like that, it's different now because uh the artists, when they start to make the money mile, you got these guys that come to them, or these people that come to them and want to give them the information. Back then, during those times when there was no social media or anything like that, where everybody searched for, where everybody's searching for likes and clicks, it's like a cat say, yeah man, I got them new J's, man, they $1,000, I got them for 250. And you like, hey man, look, where you get them at? Nah, I can't even get them. It's like, why you want to tax me? You're taxing your homie, your brother, you know what I'm saying? But then you want to come free somewhere. I'm doing somewhere doing so. It's like, when we had the knowledge back then, we didn't pass it on. I mean, it probably was like that at one point with, from all the stories that we're hearing now, the things that happened back in the day. But they didn't want to pass them. They wanted to be the ones with the information. They wanted to be the ones to be on top, or be seen, or be looked at differently. And now you can't hide the information because it's everywhere. And if you become one of those people that are catapulted to the front, they're going to be people that are come around you, of course, for their own benefit, but they're going to show you how to do blah 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 blah, or actually just put you on with the move, and you whether, if you feel good or not, you invest in it. It's a different day, man. I know for me, the mistakes I made, well, I thought that it was going to be everlasting because it took off so fast. And I was like, oh man, we good, we gravy. So I wanted to take care of everybody. And when you learn the business scale and how you get paid, yeah, it's and what's crazy is we signed our contracts with Gerald's company in June of 90. My mom died 2 months later before we even got a chance to release our stuff in 92. So I thought that money was the way to heal everybody's wounds. My sister, all I did was just give her money or do this, and then I took care of all the bills with my grandmother's, was me or my, you know what I mean. And you just didn't have a guide or blueprint, and it seemed like nobody was really trying to set. They say your money, say your money, say your money. That's all they said. And it was
Where were they
different.
saving it? Were they saving it? Were they putting it under their mattress? Or were they putting it in a coffee can?
Yeah, different stuff like that under the mattress, coffee can. And I had a certain disdain for banks because I got robbed at a bank one time. And I went to, and what's crazy is my grandmother's brother-in-law was the president of the bank. But for some reason, they would not let me look at the tapes so I could catch the guy. It was
Wow.
some type of privacy thing, I guess, because there was other people in there. And after that, I was like, I did not touch a bank until that was 90 something. I ain't touch a bank until 2000 and
A long
three.
time. Let's just say a long
Yeah,
time.
yeah, man. Yeah.
Yeah, that's traumatic. See, trauma, another root cause. Kim, mistakes in your 30s, 40s, or even like 20s earlier, like if things you would have wanted to learn if you didn't have a blueprint?
Well, let me say that I want to first say that I had a blueprint. We all had blueprints, but we gotta see. Sometimes if we misdiagnose the problem, then we don't understand how to cure it, right? So one of the problems that we assume is that because we from the hood or we from the black community, and that your parents didn't have millions of dollars in the financial planning and such like that, that we didn't have a financial blueprint. We did. It just we didn't have proximity to how the game is played at a higher level. 99% of the population apparently doesn't have that, because 99% of the population ain't making as much money as the 1% of the population that's in billionaire status. So, we got to be a little less um, harsh on ourselves about that sort of thing. And I don't mean to be contrarian, but I mean, when you think about it for a minute, right? The sort of financial literacy that we learned was how to work the system. You know what I mean? Social services, stuff like that. To the extent that as I sit here and I'm in a brand new house that I bought for $8,000, right? That do understanding how to work the system is now worth $235,000. You know what I'm saying? And it's nothing but actual equity. But I know how to work the system. That was my financial literacy. Was understanding know how to deal with social services, food stamps, all these sorts of things. You know what I'm saying? And because I had some level of knowledge that I was gaining from being in the sort of same circles that Server is in, where we learning about doing for self and self sufficiency, and learning about how to move a certain way, how to live this life a certain way. Uh, it made me look at things being resourceful. Resourcefulness was another form of financial literacy that I was taught growing up. How to make something out of nothing, or how to make in the immortal words of Yassine Bey, I ain't no perfect man. I'm trying to do the best that I can with what it is I have. And that is our financial literacy. We don't have proximity to the mechanisms of financial institutions that are being used. These are things. These are cons. You understand? That's the financial literacy that we had access to. Drug dealing was a financial. So most young people understand the idea of a flip because of their proximity to that. And so we have to be a little lenient on each other when we talk about what we know, of whether we had this or we did have it. It just wasn't the kind that the higher ups and the 1% understand. And even they people don't understand that, because they people, I used to do a job where I used to have to go to like the trailer parks, and you want to talk about some hard living. White people in the trailer parks is living hard. Like,
Yeah.
black people need to stop feeling ashamed, because if you seen how white people live in these trailer parks, you would be like, my God,
Yeah.
wow,
Yeah.
wow. You know what I'm saying? Like, y'all was calling us this? You saying we this? Like, it'll write you. It'll write your shit. Now that doesn't mean that I'm financially where I want to be at, because I suffered a poverty mindset. And see, now that's another thing. That's a layer on top of that.
That's that
And I,
root that Shannon's always talking about. Yeah.
and see, that poverty mindset is different from lack of financial insight, right? Because the poverty mindset makes you do stuff like, you get you a little bit of money and your priorities are shot, because in your mind you want to hurry. Your self-esteem is so, and this is us in general, our self-esteem is so rocked that you get you a couple of dollars, instead of doing something like putting in an annuity or making some kind of sound financial move. You want to hurry up and fulfill this need not met. So you got to go buy things, because when I get that thing, so and so and so is your cash ain't gonna be ready when I get that thing. When I get this, I'm gonna be up on them. Watch, and it's like, when you get that thing, ain't nothing gonna happen, because every time you got that thing, ain't nothing changed, because the thing wasn't gonna be the catalyst. It was just overall thinking. But we had a poverty mindset. Now that's overlaid on a limited financial plan. You dig what I'm saying? But it's not a null financial plan from my perspective. What I'm saying, it's from my own experiences, how I see things. I'm not suggesting this that everybody else should believe it, nor am I saying it should be a doctrine. I'm just saying it's my perspective of how things are. But because I have this solid foundation of being resourceful from a single mother that worked 3 jobs, and just I seen how she hustled and flowed and moved, and from having a wife that's a hustler, you know what I'm saying, that you know how to move and groove within the system well. She's brilliant in that. You know, my level of resourcefulness has made me such that, you know, if I can't, I want stuff, but I understand that if I can't get stuff, I'm gonna build stuff. Like I'm gonna find me a way. You know what I'm saying? You was at the house for Beats and Bars Barbecue. You seen that outdoor kitchen?
Mhm.
I built that. That was scrap materials. You dig what I'm saying? You seen the outdoor the stage?
Mhm.
Them was scrap materials. That was the flooring, the composite deck boards was on my daughter's deck that she had on her tiny house that was on my thing. That studio you saw, that shed that was painted white but it wasn't finished painted over on the far side of my property. That's my studio. I converted that from a shed into a studio because, and if you go inside the bathroom and the whole nine, I just got to redo because it's a mess from the whole move thing. My point is that I'm resourceful. You know what I mean? And my resourcefulness generates another type of wealth. And that type of wealth is a permanent wealth. It's not dictated by the markets. It's dictated by my willpower and my physical capability and my capacity to be able to teach my children, my grandchildren, how to do the same thing so that when I'm incapable of doing it, somebody else could pick up the hammer and the drill and keep us in action.
I want to pass the mic over to Kathleen Z. Warren. She's been sitting there so quiet and patient. Kathleen has a book. She became an author, December of 2025?
Yes.
And this book came about, I'm sorry, I'm getting an echo. I'm not sure where it's coming from. It's okay. I'm going to pass it on to Kathleen here in a second. But Kathleen, I want you to talk about your book because I believe what Kathleen has is a solution. For as far as financial literacy for the hip hop community, for the Black community, that can be the actual blueprint for our families, not even immediate families, because some people don't have close family, like blood family, but you might have family, right? You might have really close friends. So Kathleen, please, I would like for you to share.
Well, I started investing in April of 2024. I knew nothing about it. I had met KC, my BFF, at a food bank, and she invited me to go to their Zoom. And because of what I learned about investing, I felt was so powerful that I decided that that's something that everyone can do. And so I started with my family and we started family meetings. But before we even started the family meeting, what I did was I had them to do several things. They had to get a library card. They had to open a brokerage account. It didn't matter about the money. And they had to read a book on mindset change. So we started that with the intent of we are going to start creating generational wealth. But before we do that, we have to change our mindset. We have to start reading and we have to know something about investing in the stock market. So, because of their input and because of their excitement, and because they bought into it, they understood that we're not going to necessarily make it just on our jobs. We're going to have to do some other things. We're going to have some investments. We're going to have to do some side hustles. We're going to have to do some things that is going to create not only wealth for the moment, but wealth for long term, wealth for generations. So we did all of those things. I prompt them every month with questions about the book. We get together once a month. And originally it was all centered around food. Okay, all right, we're coming, but this is going to be soul food, or this is going to be Italian, or this is going to be. So it was a buy-in for everybody because not only was it a social event, but it also was a time where all of the family got together, whether it was the 1-year-old, the 5-year-old, the third grader, or the high schooler. And that what was important is because they saw us as a unit coming together. And as a matter of fact, 2 days ago, my kindergarten niece asked, Aunt Kat, when are we having our next family meeting? I said, why? Because I miss us getting together and talking. Because I've tried to instill that within them. And they know we're talking about money. We have a mission statement. They have to read the mission statement. And we also have set up accounts for them, that they know that it's more than money is a tool to help you have a better life. It also is a tool to help you be secure, and also it's a tool to build for the next group, for the next generation. So that is what propelled me to write the guide. And because of that, I think it will make a difference. It talks about setting up the family meetings. It's a process. It's not like one meeting and that's it. It's a 5-week process where you get everybody on board. There's a host, someone or someone's that can come and get everyone started on this journey, because it is a journey. It's not just a one-time thing. And the goal is for us to know that money is a tool. It's not just something to go and buy something with. It's a tool to have a better life. And because we were not necessarily explicitly taught that or had the tools for that, the way I've laid out the book, the guide, is so that it's a step by step process. It talks about, okay, now that you've got the family meeting together, what's your next move? What's the next thing you're going to be doing? So there are different components. I don't know if you're going to ask this question. I may be jumping the gun, but creating generational wealth is more than about money. It encompasses some of the things that you guys have talked about. Generational wealth is also wealth, health and mental wealth. When you're getting your families together, a part of it is making sure that they're on point, making sure that, hey, listen, did you get your annual exam, or did you follow up with some, whether it's mental issue or whether it's just something suggesting therapy. But it's more than just the money part. There's also there's the financial literacy part, and that's also incorporated in the book. Um, we need to make sure our kids know what money is, know what investments are, know what debt is, know what compounding interest, those things. We have to make sure that those are incorporated in our family meetings. It's just not getting together and eating. We have an agenda when we meet. The other part to that is also the component of the legal aspect. You can do all of this work, and if you don't have your legal parts all together, it's for naught.
Protected.
Because it has to be protected. You have to make sure you have your trusts all together, your LLCs, your wills that are specific and not general. And another component, I think I mentioned this to Shannon, is there's also an ethical and a moral component. I say this all the time. Why is it all of a sudden mama daddies, no, baby mamas and baby daddies are okay for us to have as a family unit, when we know we should be promoting a lifestyle where there is marriage? Because you have all these baby mamas and all this stuff, and you're trying to create generational wealth. You got so many people out there, you don't even know who they are. So all of this money and all these things you're doing is going to be for naught if you can't control who the wealth is for. So I think, that's my little aside. I think that's something that's very important. We definitely need to make sure that we have a moral and ethical component to our to creating generational wealth. So again, the book is a guide. There's a workbook that goes with it, and it really goes into all of the different components for creating the wealth, whether it's the stock market, whether it's 529 plans, whether it's life insurance, whole life insurance, not the term life insurance, that can be used to create millionaires in your family when you start early. If you start at 10 years old and for 10 years you put in $50 a month, your child would be a millionaire, at a certain point. And it's not a small thing to ask. I mean, I think if you're going to bring a child in the world, then you are responsible to making sure that they are financially secure without them doing anything. Of course, they will, because you're going to be teaching them that. But I think these things are definitely important. So I recommend that you purchase. Now, I'm not tooting my book for this point of doing that, but it really is very important for us to look at this in a systematic way and
Kathleen,
have
Dre says
steps
he
to do
agrees.
that.
He's in the chat. He said he agrees with everything that you're saying.
Okay, thank you, Dre. So I am passionate about this. Um, I know I can tell just in a year since we started our meeting, we're going to a year and a half now, that it has made a difference in my family's life. I had my niece who I tried to talk with before I started the book about building up her credit and doing things. And 2 weeks ago, she says, on cash, she says, I want to get a house. I need to start getting my credit. These are some of the things that I'm doing. So it's taken a moment for them to come around. But I think once they see that this is important, that they will make a difference and they will start making those changes, because I tell them, I said, generational wealth is not about you. It's about your grandkids. It's about their kids. And that's the mindset that I think that some of us think, oh, I'm doing my part right here. I got this, that, and the other. But it goes way beyond that.
Yeah.
Way beyond that.
Kathleen, if you can do us a favor and drop where people can purchase your book in the chat. And I want to
Certainly.
say also for all of you on, if you have a resource or a website or any product, Shannon also has a book. If you can drop your links in the chat, so then those because this is also going to be flowing over to YouTube. So make sure people have access to your information and ways to contact you. We've gone over our time a little bit, but I just want to ask out of respect, do y'all have a couple more minutes, a few more minutes? Dave, you look like you're about to go to sleep. I know you didn't sleep last night. You're on mute, so we can't hear you, Dave.
I have this thing where, it's part of my, my mental thing. You know what I mean? Like, they say you're asleep when you're dead, or sleep is the cousin's death. But as you get older, you need those hours. At nighttime, I've taken the nighttime to, basically, even though, my wife, my daughter, and my son is gone, they moving out of here. During the daytime, it's just something about the daytime that does not compute to peace. But at night when I'm upstairs, I stay up and I end up going to sleep. And like now, I probably would went back to sleep. You know what I mean? I'm up though. You know what I mean? Like I might tilt a little bit, close my eyes, but I'm saying I ain't gonna leave you. I'm right here. I
Okay,
picked
all
you up on
right,
everything. I
cool.
think it's all of this stuff is relevant. You know what I mean? It all goes together. Like I've never heard HLAW. I haven't, and but that's what we do. Sometimes you hear things, but you're already doing it and don't even know. You know what I mean? So yeah, you know what I mean. That's dope. I like that HLAW, son.
Yeah.
Word up. I ain't from New York, but word up, Dunny. Word up, son. I'm from Queensbridge, the 41st side, son. Word up.
Hilarious. So if everybody could put their stuff in the chat, that'll be great. So Dre has a question. He says, my question is, when the help is offered, I don't know if this is for a specific person. I'm guessing this is for the brothers on here. So whoever wants to chime in on this question, feel free. He says, my question is, when the help is offered, especially by someone that looks like them, why do Black men resist the assistance from their own versus a huge benefit of the doubt from others? Ooh, good question. We see that all the time, don't we, though?
That's something. That's something I think that has just been passed down. Like, so if you don't know, I've been a singer for God knows how long, but I said, I don't believe in bucket list, because bucket list is, but I have a effort list, and you sound it out the same way as bucket. And I say, well, if I can still do it, then, effort, do it. So I started rapping. You know what I mean? I have a rap single out. I'm doing release an album at 56 on my birthday. I'm dropping the whole thing. And a lot of my stuff, I employed the same things in my songs. But like growing up, they the way they brought us up, I don't know, I changed mine when I did my son. You couldn't cry, you couldn't act like you were hurt, you couldn't show vulnerability, you couldn't show transparency. And if you don't teach your kids to find their own truths, that same thing is going to keep passing and passing and passing and passing and passing. Like you wasn't supposed to cry, because in one of the songs I I said, I don't want to go outside because there's too much pain. I can't stand the pain. And that's the hook. But I say, when I was young, they showed us to take it like a man. I say, Alex, I take hypocrisy for 1,000 if I can, because they taught us that if you cry, you're less of a man and all that. And I think that thing just keeps going. It doesn't allow you to tap into the things that are emotional relief, because you taught to, I'm good, so straight. Us men would rather bleed out than ask for help.
But
Not
it
me.
says, but I don't know if the question, and Dre chime in here because he's saying assistance from people that look like them. So you're saying, Dave, that because of Black men aren't allowed to be vulnerable or sensitive,
I'm
they
saying if Kim came up to me, it's like him coming up to me. If we look like we this, but he'll give me help, and he'll be like, I know I need some help, man. I can't, man. I know I can't. I got an injury from. I know I can't carry this up the steps, but I'm gonna be like, nah, man, I'm good. I got it, baby. Good looking out though, man. Word up, but you know what I'm saying. I think that's what
okay.
he talking about because I'm saying that's the same thing as you always have to let somebody know that I'm good. I'm straight. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, I'm good. I don't need no help. I got
That's
it.
what you mean.
Well, if I could chime in on that,
Chime in, man.
I think I'm gonna approach the question a little
He
differently.
says he's asking on the financial
So
side, so
yeah,
financial help.
Well, man,
I'm
be
gonna
clear, man.
yeah,
Damn
no,
it. Be
so
clear, because that whole thing is a big spectrum. And I was thinking you were talking about that because we were saying mental health. But go ahead, Kim.
It all
yeah,
applies.
Give me some of that blue cheese, dog.
here it is. I got you. You know what I'm saying? I'll get you country music style. You heard? So here, nah, check it out. What I think is all right, so one, all right, so there's this thing with crabs in the barrel with us, right? And so, we got this tendency to look at each other like crabs in the barrel. You know what I'm saying? And what we don't consider is that crabs are not meant to be in a barrel. And when you realize that crabs can act, how they function in the barrel is not natural because that's not a natural condition for crabs, then you can understand that you don't have to look at your fellow crab like you're a crab. You know what I'm saying? You look at them like you could be an asset and a help to you. I think also that we don't trust each other because we have this concern that black people that have too much proximity to whiteness are either going to be in house Negro mode and mistreat us, you know what I'm saying, or misuse us. We also know that a lot of us is coming from the bottom and have the bottom feeder mentality. And so that they're going to take what's ours and try to scam us out of it because they don't got no regard for the situation. And so we're just as lent to prejudices, racist mindsets, and stereotypes as the white people who create them and saddled us with them. You understand what I'm saying? And a lot of us is once bitten, twice shy. I think it hurts more when you engage black people, for especially when you're talking finances, because we got songs about "Don't get funny with my money." You know what I'm saying? But we're a little more, even more hesitant because, again, if you know somebody hungry like you hungry, you like, I don't know, fam. I don't know what you're gonna do with that. And then I think also that there's a problem as far as black people when we try to engage one another, is that we tend to be a little too comfortable. Like we be trying to get comfortable before we get to work, and that's important. Like we gotta start learning to be like, yo, son, let me get to work first. We can do comfort in a minute. You know what I'm saying? You could be my man's in a minute. I'll be your man's after I get you some progress and some results, and a man, and I come through with them deliverables. You know what I'm saying? I think those are important components of why some of us be hesitant in engaging one another. Because, and then I think sometimes we don't engage. And this is a good conversation about black business in general. Um, we don't we do the passion part of business. You know what I'm saying? We do the aspirational part of business really well. We don't do the backroom part of business well. We don't do this is how I engage for potential client and customer, and I got it together, and I can petition you for your work and you to be client of mine and a customer of mine because I have a solid business foundation in how I'm engaging you. it's always, it's always like the hookup, it's always the lookout. And I think that we'd be looking for the cold calculating component that we see in business when it comes to, I want somebody that's going to just look at my stuff straightforward, tell me what it is and what it isn't, and how they intend on resolving whatever situation, or how they intend on guiding me towards a better situation than anything else.
Yeah. And Dre responded, he says, I love that close to whiteness piece and the comfort piece. He says he sees a lot of that in both of those. Dre, if you can do us a favor, because you were supposed to be on this panel today, and for, legal purposes, we know why you could not. So feel free to drop in your information in the chat, because Dre is an amazing wealth advisor. And I think, and he's a trusted partner of Caffeine Connections. And I think anyone and everyone listening to this can benefit from him. Because one thing I can say about Dre is, and y'all can, if you ever watch Caffeine Connections, we have a one-on-one. He and I have 2 episodes together, and he's talking about how he helps anybody. It doesn't matter what your financial status is. It doesn't matter if you're not a 6-figure income earner. He just wants to be able to help you. If you have goals, if you're trying to get to a certain place, he just wants to help. He's we call him and Kathleen and Shannon and Casey evangelists. Go ahead.
I'm sorry. Can we wait a minute? Let's reframe this real quick, because it almost fell into exactly why cats don't mess with anybody, right?
Why?
You said he couldn't get on here for legal reasons, and I'm like, oh, this scary ass Negro. Oh, here we go.
So the thing is, if you're on a platform like this, and corporate people see the word hip hop, it's corporate stuff. I don't know if it's that or YouTube or whatever the case is, but some people, sometimes those companies won't allow you to be on these platforms, and that's okay, because again, he has us that can advocate for him. So
with that, I think one of the biggest things that we face is if somebody from another race, especially the W's, if somebody does something, that one person is held accountable. But as soon as, say, if I did something, then the whole race is held accountable for. We're all bad. You know what I mean? We don't get, so that, and then we buy into that concept at the same time. Like, I've had a lot of bad business deals, but the one thing that I will not do is tear that person down. What I'll say is what happened, and I'll say, hey man, it was this time that they might have changed. It might be different for you. You know what I mean? Y'all might have a different synergy, but we're every one person is accountable for the whole black race every time they do something. It's like we can't win for losing with that. You know what I mean? So
the spotlight is always on, especially if you're
and then unfortunately, when you're doing business with us, a lot of times it comes to light. You know what I mean? I think a lot of times when we get bread on those levels, we just want to flex. We're not thinking about, we might go and do some type of research, but I think the majority of us, from what I've seen, they just want to flex and let people know they got this and this, that, and the third, and blah, 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 blah. And that's not the definite formula for success. You know what I mean? It's just not. But unfortunately, that's what we see. And that's why you see us rushing to the big W outlets, or we'll go to the Asians, or we'll go to the Arabs and get stuff, before we go into our own Johns and get, what we need because of what we think. And hell, they've been trying to poison and kill us for the longest. So I don't know, man. This whole talk is longer than 45 minutes. And,
yeah, it is. We have
this right here could take
part 2 to this. There's so much.
But I'm saying it's so broad.
It is
that you can't. It's not gonna. It's like one of those Shannon Sharp, Cat Williams talks, because everybody has their own viewpoint, and in most cases we're saying the same thing too, but it might just be a different. I make my chocolate cake with this, and she makes hers with that. They both good, but you get something different out of each one. You know what I mean?
And that's the importance. That's why I said everybody has a story. So everybody comes from a different viewpoint for sure. So, and I know we're quite past our time, and
way past it.
Yeah, I know.
It's Kim fault.
But I told you that we're probably going to go past the
And me
time
too.
because we have some folks here that the story is important, and we got
I
some.
know I'm long-winded. Yeah, so I dig it.
I'm gonna
But
tell you what. I'm gonna tell you what I do know is these things are so important. Cass is we all hungry to get the word out, and we all hungry to receive the word. And sometimes
Yeah.
the word just ain't gonna be packaged as simple
it
as we
can't.
want it to be, man. It's not gonna happen that way, and that's
Yeah.
good because that shows that there's a demand. It shows that we hungry for that word. We hungry for that information, and so now we just gotta all get as best that we can at packaging it and getting it to everybody. You know what I'm saying?
Hey, and
Well,
and let me say,
wait, Dave, hold on. Server has to jump, but so what I want everyone to do before we leave, I want everybody to get their piece. Server, what do you have going on? I know your information is in the chat, but I want you to have your closing statement.
Yeah, my closing statement is really based on the Hip Hop Declaration of Peace. This is the 25-year anniversary of an international document of 18 principles. For the first 25 years, that document has been pretty much symbolic here in the U.S. and other countries, particularly East Africa, have taken it to heart. And what we're promoting through Hip Hop Bridge Builders is a realignment. That's our thing for Hip Hop Appreciation Week, realignment. So, the three things that's want to leave you out with the Hip Hop Declaration of Peace. Those are principles. And that's the original poster to look at. But the document within itself, there are no names and no organizations in that document, which is why I've been able to use it. If you want a copy of the poster as well as the PDF, we have it in 10 different languages. You can hit us up at hiphopbridgebuilders@gmail.com. Three things: principles over personalities, culture over corporation, people over profits. And we can, value that in our community. We are the youngest culture on the planet according to the United Nations. We are at the beginning. In fact, next few months from now, we'll only be 53 years old as a culture. So the future of where we're going in hip hop is wholly dependent on what we're going to do for our children and our children's children forever. So we're here to be in service with Hip Hop Bridge Builders in any way we can. I appreciate you, Hip Hop Angel, Angie, having us on today to talk about this. Appreciate all you. I get some great information. We definitely need longer time to do this.
Yeah.
To plan for that. Good seeing everybody on here. Kool, Kim, Respect King, Dave, good meeting you. Kathleen,
I'm
Shannon.
in Atlanta, so I'm gonna have her link us up.
Oh yeah, definitely. You're in Atlanta. Let's get it for sure. Appreciate y'all. I got to bounce though.
All right, Server, peace. So in the chat, well, this is not in the chat. Actually, people have been messaging my phone because they can't figure out how to chat. And Lady KC, DJ Lady KC says, great question, Dre. Great presentation, Kathleen and Shannon. So that's a shout out to you all. Shout out to my mother and my sister. They both are watching. Kathleen, I'm hoping they heard what you said.
Yeah,
because these family meetings are so necessary. That's one of the hardest things to do is getting your family together, your immediate family. That's why a lot of people tend to lean in on their tribe or their friends or their peers, because a lot of times the family is just not connecting in that way. And folks don't want to talk about money because of shame or because of whatever, or because of secrets, or I don't want people to know X, Y, Z. I mean,
I don't give a damn.
Shannon, I'm sorry, Kathleen, you're on mute, so we can't hear you.
I don't give a damn.
What I was saying is that they will find out about the secret, so you might as well just get them out and work with it and get it over with, because money is going to make the difference. How you deal with money is going to make a life-changing difference. So that's my piece.
Yeah. So let's go around. Shannon, we didn't even get a chance to hear as much from you as I really wanted to today. Because, and again, Shannon and I have done we've done 2 Caffeine Connections podcasts. So if you ever get a chance to go to Caffeine Connections on YouTube and hear these interviews, I mean, the gems and jewels the system drops is amazing. But Shannon, for you, I would love for you to, give a closeout on some things that's important to you and that you want to share.
For me, I would say, I guess, it's a thing of let's all try to work on just changing our mindsets. And I know that sometimes that could be a little difficult or what have you, but when it comes down to money, like I said before, I'm always about trying to change the mindset, of people, especially our people. And so I always say, when, you're looking at your money, when you're looking at your finances or what have you, just like I said, just start thinking to yourself sometimes like, okay, why do I treat my money the way that I do? Why do I react to, my money the way that I do? And a lot of times, like I always say, it is the root. Sometimes you got to go back and do that root work. And I'm not talking about that in a witchcraft way or a bad way or anything like that, but it's about being able to say, okay, let me go back in time and try to figure out when I started to have a bad relationship with my money. That's the root. So go back and say, okay, I found the root of my problem. And I always say that, my method is let's kill the root. Let's go back and attack the lack that comes from the root. Because a lot of us come from lack. We come from a lot of love, but we come from a lot of lack. And then once we can do that, now we can try to figure out what's the trauma, what's the triggers, and we can conquer those things. Once we can, do all of those things, and however long that may take, now we can start having a better relationship with money. Now we can look at money to say, money, it really is my friend. I'm not afraid of my money. I'm not letting money, rule my world, type of deal. So that's one thing I just, try to just, I guess teach with people. Like, you can be better with your money. You don't have to be a millionaire. Even if you feel like you don't have
Facts.
a dime left over, but at least you know where your money is going. At least you know how to track your money. Now you're not letting money, rule you. Because I tell people all the time, a lot of times in the world of money, with the world of money, a lot of times money becomes our God and we don't realize it because we're idolizing it because we're trying to make up for what we didn't get as a child. So I would just say, just retrain your brain, unlearn some bad behaviors. And if we all can do that, each one teach one. And if I'm doing better, I want the next person to do better. And I always say, if I'm eating steak at the table, I want everybody else around me to be able to eat that same piece of steak. And if I, like I said, each one teach one, I'm doing better, the next person is going to do better. So that's what I want to leave out with.
Thank you, Shannon B. And Shannon B and I are working on a project that we'll talk more about. You'll hear more about hopefully this summer, helping our people find their voice. So, Dave, what you saying?
You said find their voice. I said, ah, that's all.
When you're teaching voice classes, so let's move on. Voice lessons, excuse me. Yeah. So, Dave, let's move over to you. What's your closing statement, and what would you like to share with the people as far as your projects and all?
Live, love, laugh, have lots of sex, man. That's it. But no, right now I am, people might not know.
Uh-oh, his volume. Somebody must be calling his
Can you
phone.
hear me?
Now we can. Go ahead.
Can you hear me?
Yes.
Damn. All right. I'm people. You may not know who I am. I look a little different. I shot a video for my first rap project the other day, and they was like, and we just did Nucci's front porch as the Levert experience, and they were like, that's not you. You're not the guy from Minute Large. I said, yes, I am. They said, no, that's not you. I had to post it because I got so much traction off that. But anyway, I'm on tour right now with the Levert experience. We're touring everywhere. We got some dates coming up. I'll be posting all that junk. I am, doing my radio show every week. I used to call it Party and Bullsh, but I got tired of editing, so I just say Party and Bull is. And right now I'm in my fourth year with that. This is actually my 40th year being in broadcasting. Man, right now, and when I lost the weight, I wanted to, because it was for a problem, and they couldn't find out where it came from or why, why my heart would do what it was doing. Well, now it's back to normal, and they say, well, I guess the best thing you could have done was lost the weight. I said, you damn right, but I was starting a foundation called Eat Your Heart Out, where I would, it's hard to shop when you're a young fat kid, so help buying clothes or teaching them how to eating healthier snacks, and not being a hypocrite, but I still snack sometimes at night. Matter of fact, every night. I ain't gonna lie to you, but I maintain it by exercise and working out. And it starts with your mind. If your mind ain't right, then your body gonna fall apart. That's just that's just what it is. It's so much more. I'm all over the place with it, but y'all can follow me everywhere. Why you turn your mouth? Y'all can follow me everywhere. I'm messing with you at Dave Men at Large, at Dave Men at Large, or just Dave Tolliver. Um, and I'm down for whatever. You know what I mean? Like you said, helping people, doing different stuff like that. Um, you know, I know you got limited time, so I'm not trying to just hold it. Like I'm down for whatever. Just holler at me. We can do some collabs. I'm like it's not singing lessons, is vocal coaching. Like
Vocal coach,
I
that's
can't
what
teach
you
you.
do what I meant.
Yeah, I can't teach you how to sing, but I can help you get the best out of what you have. Just holler at me. You know what I mean? And we'll make it work. But if you're really not in the capacity of really being able to sing, I'm gonna be honest with you and be like, I'm not gonna just sit here and take your money because that's gonna be, waste of time for me. And shout out to my man Kim. I've been a fan, man. We broke your records in Cleveland back in the day when it came on. Me and my man MC Chill on a station called WZAK in Cleveland. My uncle, who was more like my dad's name, was Lynn Tolliver. He loved that record. He passed away in 23, and actually will be getting inducted into the Black Radio Hall of Fame, National Black Radio Hall of Fame in September. And that's it. I'm done. Yeah.
Okay.
And
Yeah,
the talks don't bother me, man. I like hearing people's story and talking. That's how I was just clowning about that. But go ahead, bro.
yeah. Listen, let me tell you, King. I was the whole time we was on here. I was saying to myself, yo, I wonder if he related to Lynn Tolliver.
Yeah,
Yo, big shouts to him. Saying rest in peace. May he stand side by side with all the ancestors. A true gentleman, a wonderful dude with an amazing story. He need a movie written about him, an amazing story. You know what I'm saying? And he always treated us so kindly and warmly.
he loved
And
y'all, man.
and we loved him. You know what I'm saying? I know for my part, I always appreciated coming out to Cleveland, Ohio,
Yeah, man.
where he had his radio station, and I know I'm talking about. I know it's Cleveland.
Yeah,
I used to keep the toast on him because he had an altercation one time, so
yeah,
he kept the ooh on him.
yeah, for sure.
He kept the fire on him. So
Yeah,
yeah, but beautiful man. You know what I'm saying? Peace to your uncle, man. Peace to you too, man. I love and appreciate the work you've done, my dude. No questions. You heard?
for sure.
And well,
And
Kim will
that's
pass.
it for me.
Yeah, thank you, Dave. We
Link us,
appreciate
link us up, Angel. Hook us up and
Definitely,
let's do something. Y'all
definitely.
want to
I'll
interview
do
and
an
let's do
IG
something.
intro. I'll do an IG group intro so y'all can get connected.
All right,
Yeah.
cool.
But Kim will pass it to you, like your closing statement and anything you want to promote here today for the masses.
Yeah, okay. So my closing statements is one day at a time, y'all. You know what I'm saying? Like we had a time in this life where, there's a lot happening and it's enough to get overwhelmed and somehow you get made to feel as if it's your responsibility to resolve the myriad amount of problems that are going on in this world and it's not. You heard? Your job is to take it one step at a time, build your thing, do things by priority, do them properly, and then move on to the next. And be thankful for each accomplishment. Try to stay grateful in the face of all that's going on because it could be worse. And sometimes when you get to taste a little bit of worse, it gives you an idea how great it was, and to keep in that vein. So there's that. I want to also say I'm gonna try to reach out to everybody on the panel in one capacity or other, specifically though financial things. I got things going on and I really want to be able to deep dive and get some wisdom and knowledge about. And I'm working on, like I said, some new events because Beats and Bars Barbecue after the fourth year was a raging success this year. We
It
felt
was
it was.
so dope. So Shannon, you got to come down. Shannon's in Winston-Salem, North Carolina. I feel like
Oh, you gotta come through, sis. You gotta come through, sis. It's food for the soul. It's food for the soul. You know what I mean? Like,
so good.
where you go, you go and you see stuff on the TV or the movies, and they show this thing going on. You be like, where's that at? I want to go to that thing. That's Beats and Bars Barbecue. It's that thing. You know what I'm saying? That and it's like you were like the way it presents. It's is even better than you would imagine it. Like and that we love it. And the best thing I could tell about Beats and Bars Barbecue was this year we were supposed to have. We had it last year, but we didn't have them this year. We were supposed to have porta potties come through so that the bathroom process would be a lot easier on people, right? And for whatever reason, we dropped the ball and didn't follow up, and as a result, they didn't come through. And so we had to use the house bathroom. We have two of them now, but we only had one before. But long story short, I was like, Dad, it's a brand new house. And we hadn't even been cleared to move in the house yet. It wasn't until the day after Beats and Bars Barbecue that we finally got cleared to move in. And
I didn't know that.
yeah, so it finally passed inspection that following Monday. And make a long story shorter, I was like, yo, people gonna come in there and tear my bathroom up. You know what I'm saying? Like I was like, yo, man, I'm gonna be tight. And then that clawfoot tub, I refurbished that. You know what I'm saying? So I did that, and I was like, yo, don't tear my joint up. And I wouldn't want to go check the bathroom the whole time because I didn't want to get upset.
Did they treat it okay for you?
I was I was like, yo, I don't, because I would have flipped because I'm that type of person. I'm just gonna flip on the spot. But I waited till the end of the night. And at the end of the night, I went in to go see what was going on. And when I tell you that bathroom was immaculate, it looked like no one ever even used the bathroom. It was spotless. And why do I say that to describe Beats and Bars Barbecue? Because the quality of people that are at Beats and Bars Barbecue are the type of people that will take that's gonna wipe your sink down and make sure there ain't no pee marks on the toilet. You understand what I'm saying? Like that's Beats and Bars Barbecue, where people, there's so much love in my home during that event. There's so much fellowship and camaraderie and great energy and good love that even the most base component of your house is going to be treated with that same level of love. Every individual, everybody is somebody at Beats and Bars Barbecue. We all eat together. We all sit together. We all vibe together. You be chilling, next thing you know, you sit next to Garfield Bright for Shy.
That was me. I sat and talked to him for 3 hours.
Yeah, and you sitting there like, oh snap, I should have been talking to son. You know what I mean? Like we just chopping it up.
3 hours,
eating, kicking it, listening to music. And that's Beats and Bars Barbecue. So next year's Beats and Bars Barbecue.
Can I just say one more thing about Beats, Bars, and Barbecue? It was one of the most wholesome, fun, and I was even there for the entire weekend, y'all. I was there on a Saturday, and it literally from where I was in South Carolina, it took me an hour and a half, so it was super easy to get to. I didn't have to get on the expressway, Ken. Literally, took the back roads there.
Did you?
I was there for an hour and a half. Got back home, it was still daylight when I left. But next time, I'm staying the night, and I'm staying the entire weekend because
you missed the boat ride, and the boat ride was a vibe. Like it was. You talk about. We was in there like it was like the perfect like nightcap to an amazing evening. Like you just like. It was the equivalent of like, when you have a rough day and you jump in the bed and it's cold, but you get in the warm covers and you start giggling because you're just so excited. That's how it was just beautiful, sis.
Well, shout out to Bad Joby and Super Dope Fresh Crew for capturing that video that I was able to see.
Yeah, definitely. And shout out to my dude Chris Prolific from Soulful Playground, because he's been posting up a bunch of wonderful content, and we really been able to celebrate every component of hip hop that was there, from the graffiti wall to the b-boys, from the DJs and the producers to the MCs. Everybody's being celebrated, all 5 elements of hip hop, including knowledge of self, because that was just permeating there, that community vibe. So I was very grateful for that. Coming up next, we have Garden Grooves. We'll be doing this summer, and we'll be having some R&B and we're going to be concentrating on R&B and jazz vibes in the garden. So it's going to be real cool. We just want to expand the brand, and also, like I said, coming up is Collab Lab, 5 days. 5 MCs, 5 producers, 3 days, 1 house. I'm renting a nice, one of those vacation homes, big joint. Sleep like 28 people, and we gonna live stream the whole event, and we're doing a documentary on it at the same time, and then we're gonna release all the music that we put together from that event. You dig? So it'll be released on a weekly basis. So we're aiming to do at least 15 joints, and we're gonna be doing that more than once a year as I debut my new website called Collab Lab, which is going to be extremely revolutionary. I'm not going to talk about too much because I need to get my copyrights and trademarks and all that stuff locked in. And I just don't want to, I just think that a mistake we make too often is we get excited about an idea and then we go rush and tell everybody about it. and we putting that energy in the air. And then what happens is that we don't protect our ideas.
That's
We
right.
don't protect our intellectual property.
Shout out to
And
Stacey
then,
Epps out here helping us get trademarked and copywritten.
yeah, you know what? They'll holler at me because I just got finished trademarking Beats and Bars Barbecue, because we want to make sure that we protect that institution and we don't let nobody take that away from us, because they wouldn't be just taking it away from me, they'd be taking it away from us, because us had an amazing experience, we had a good time, and so let's keep protecting what's ours. In the meantime, in between time, yo, just big love, y'all. It's friendly neighborhood fly guy Kool Cameron. I'm here, man. Peace.
Oh, this has been so beautiful. Kathleen, I was like, did she do her closing statement? I couldn't remember. So I will pass it over to you and then I'll close this out. You're on mute though. I had to mute you because every time you move, we would hear noise.
Sorry about that. My computer was about to die, so I had to move over and pick it back up and stuff like that. So anyway, I just want to say the most important thing when it comes to building generational wealth is just getting started. Just do something, whether that's to buy some property, invest in stocks, or whatever it is, just get started. That is where I think a lot of times, I'll do it when I have X amount of money, or I'll do it. Just get started, regardless of the amount of money that you have. Just start investing in something. And to help you with that, I have my family legacy planning guide, which will guide you along the way. And there's a workbook for that. And my website is also in the chat. So hopefully that would be something that you would be interested in purchasing and checking out the website. And if there's any questions about it, or you need another and more information, just feel free to contact me. My information is there. So happy investing. And I think everybody deserves to build generational wealth, because we just have to get started.
Yes. And I'm going to co-sign to Kathleen's book. Kathleen is a retired school teacher. So, her putting this book together came from a school teacher's mind. That means it's detailed, it's practical, where a child and an adult can understand it. It's amazing. I love it. I have my copies. I've been telling everyone about it. So hopefully, Kathleen, people have been reaching out to you. I just think that it's imperative that people within our community at least know about it. I say that's like the first step, knowing that it exists. So real quick, another message just came through from Nurse Trisha Parker Combo out of Raleigh, North Carolina. Shout out to Nurse Trisha. She says, she says she needs an invite to NY Oil. She's talking about you, Kim. She needs an invite to the next event.
Yeah, I want to come too, dog. Cruising the garden, the beach barbecue thing, the 5-on-5. I want to come to all that, yo.
Yeah, well, come on now. That's saying you ain't said nothing but the words. We run, when the home events, we love that. It's an open invite. You know what I mean? We want everybody to come through that. Because coming to Augusta, Georgia, that ain't no destination vacation spot. You know what I mean?
No.
And so to come out here, you intentional.
It's intentional.
You know what I'm saying? And you want to be here. You want to be in this vibe. You feel some sort of attraction and longing to it. Hearing about it make you say, "I'm gonna go there, yo. I'm trying to come through." And so we always there's a certain caliber of person that comes to Beats and Bars Barbecue, be they hip hop or not. You know what I'm saying? And again, like I said, it's just a wonderful event, man. We got the spades battles going on. We got the Iron Chef of hip hop happening. We had our killer MC from Jurassic 5, Lee Majors from the Bush Babies, and my dude Adam Loxby going at it we have 4 other grills out front where they was rocking out at. My wife had the outdoor kitchen that I built up, and she was getting busy. We don't just be doing hot dogs and hamburgers. We had the brisket going. We had steak. We had we doing some real.
I had crabs. I didn't even get crabs.
Yeah, we had the crabs. You know what I'm saying? So them crabs is good in that barrel. Yeah, and that crock pot barrel. You know what I'm saying? And we was making vegan dishes. I made a vegan dish. I made you know, some mac and cheese, some other stuff. Like we trying to do some real eating and some real cooking, and you know, like it was like a hip hop revival. It felt like going to be like hip hop church. You know what I'm saying? Because it was just so like it just was just so communal, man. Like everybody was, even when the cipher happened and everybody was rhyming. Was you there when the cipher happened?
I missed it. No, I didn't.
Oh my God.
Just stayed.
Oh my God. And guess who was the set it off? Garfield.
Oh, I didn't even see that footage.
Yeah, he sets it off. You know what I'm saying? I'm like, yo,
You talking about Garfield from Shy?
Yeah, your guy.
Sir.
Your brother.
saw that. That was your thing where he was rapping on.
Yeah,
oh, man. That's my guy, man. That's my dude.
Yeah.
Man.
Yeah, showed him this, by the way, because he was originally supposed to be here too. He had another palm, I think, somewhere in Florida.
Yeah, you know, but yeah, that's my guy, man. You know what I'm saying? And Shy gonna come. He's bringing the whole group out, and I want to say August the 22nd or that weekend. So wherever the Saturday is, they're gonna come through, and we're gonna do a garden cruise with them. And like I said, we're gonna bring Melba Moore out. Like we gonna do our thing, man. We trying to lock in on the idea of new venues, home venues. You know what I'm saying? Where it's like, you know, we're not because right now concert tickets and stuff like that are being priced out. Where it's too expensive, man. It's like, yo, fam, I can't afford that, fam. Like, you know, the way we try to price beats and bars is sort of, it's like you paying dues to come through. Like, you know, it's like, yo, come on, pay enough so I can feed you. You know what I'm saying? Like, let me get enough money so I can cover the cost of this meet and these other amenities that we want to do, because we want to make sure that y'all have as much fun. But again, coming from a resourceful mindset, you know, with that we able to do a lot of things, and you know, it's fun over finance.
Yeah,
you know, we be all right. You know what I'm saying? We broke even.
Okay, well, I was wondering about that, but look, real quick, because Dave was about to say something, but I want to close this out and we can continue this conversation offline. For one, I think people are excited about Beats, Bars, and Barbecue.
Got to come through. Y'all got to come through.
I think we got folks excited about that for sure. Hopefully, we got folks.
Follow me on Instagram. You see it's right there, right here. You know, that's it's Kool Kim _NY Oil.
Okay.
MYOIL, you know what I'm saying? And then you'll be able, you'll be in tune, because I do all my, I'll be there. So
all right.
You can hit me directly, I'll respond to you directly.
All right, well, you know what? I know we have it way over, but this was expected. Honestly, we're celebrating Hip Hop Appreciation Week, y'all. This is, you know, hip hop is not, I always say this, what is it? The program is subject to change, just like in church. The program is subject to change, and that's where we are. That's what happened, and it's all good. It's all love, and this definitely was a blessing for me. Hopefully, you all here, Dave, Kim, Shannon, Kathleen, Minister Server, got we're blessed just as much as I was. And for all of you that listened in, thank you so much. Feel free to share, like, and subscribe to Caffeine Connections. And you never know, this might actually become a series. Somebody actually said I need to do an HLAW series. So we shall see. But again, thank y'all for tuning in and celebrating Hip Hop Appreciation Week with Caffeine.